Hello, I'm Reyveka from Cupcakes to Gumdrops Lingerie Sewing Supply, and today we are going to review a pattern. This is the Simplicity pattern number 8229, and today we'll only be reviewing the bra. I like to keep the bra and the panty patterns separate, just so they're easier to find. So today we're going to be reviewing the bra. If you don't want to watch this entire video, let me go ahead and just spoiler alert and say don't buy this pattern. It's interesting and terrible for reasons which I will explain here in a moment, but I would say don't get it. There are a million other better patterns, and it does something to your figure that most women would not find flattering. Let's just say I call it the East-West bra, which I'll explain in a minute. So, if you don't want to watch the whole video, just don't go buy the pattern. If you are curious what I'm talking about, of course, keep watching. So as you can see from the model here, I actually made it with a stable bra cup test material, which is what I always test patterns in. This is actually the same material that you use for the bridge to keep it stable and non-moving, but it's lightweight, it's flexible, it works really well for testing out bra patterns. So that's what I used for testing this, so that I could actually see what the stability of the bra cup was going to be, because as some of you may already know, the size that I wear in a street bra, I prefer a 32 double D. Sometimes, because I'm in between sizes, some bra patterns might want to put me in a 30 triple D. It just depends, but for me the 32 double D is the more comfortable. Now, this pattern itself is supposed to go all the way up to 42 double D. So you're like, great, it goes to big sizes, this is wonderful. However, they are recommending that you make this bra, the cups, with stretch lace, and also as the mesh inside, you know, it might be power net, it might be stretch mesh, or it might be micro mesh. None of those things, when you get up to the larger sizes, they're all too stretchy. They're all going to give you this kind of bounce that some of us may not want. They're not actually as comfortable, they're not as supportive. So to see the true shape of the bra, you know, I went with the more stable support system. So that was one thing, changed off the bat. The first time I made this bra, I wanted to keep it as true to possible, of course, as the directions, so I could give a genuine review. The first part of this sewing process did not call for any sort of stabilization in the bridge area. It has a bridge area made out of the power net, but it doesn't say anything about stabilizing it. So again, when you get into, you know, even a C cup and above, having this just be power net isn't supportive. It's gonna move, it's gonna slide, it's gonna do things that don't really work well. But I tried it, okay, didn't support. So you can see where I went back and added support later after I had seen some of the things going on with the bra. We'll get into that here in a second. So when I look at the pattern in the picture, she's turned sideways, so you can't really quite see what the seam shape is and what's going on. And when you look on it here, I know it's hard to see in the video. I am not the same size as my model here. She's not actually a lingerie model, she's just a dummy that I happen to have. So I had to stuff the cups with some white tissue paper, and I know it's hard to see this, but the seam line itself runs this direction. Now, most of the time when you see a seam like that, it actually goes the opposite direction. And I was really intrigued because I thought, okay, this is interesting, I haven't seen it before. And the thing about seam direction is that the seam tells your breasts where to go, especially if they're a larger size and they're not self-supportive. Your boobs are going to go wherever your seam tells them to go, right? So when you think about one that goes up and down, that's very uplifting. Bras that have lots of seams going up have more lift. Bras with the seam going straight across the horizontal, those are going to distribute things out, so they're more of a reducing type bras. The ones that go straight across, you know, typically they'll have a bar on the inside to kind of go in and then up. This seam, this makes your breasts go two different directions. I call this the east-west bra. What happens apparently with the seam, and I did some research to see if I could find a bra that had seams like this. I couldn't find another one, and this may be why. But what happens is this space in here actually points out. And I'll give you a close-up view here in a minute from above, because that's where you can really notice it, is when you look down and you go, oh, we're pointing two different directions. How interesting is that? And by interesting, I mean terrible. But what we are thinking about here is where the nipples should be versus where they go. So typically in a bra, of course, we want everything pointing generally straight forward. On the mannequin here, her tip-to-tip nipple was 8 inches. When I put the bra on and filled it with this tissue, it's a difference of 9 inches. Meaning, I measured it, it's 9 inches across now. So that's giving her a drift of 1 inch, which doesn't seem a lot, but again, your nipples are here and here. Now on my body, on an actual human body, the difference was even larger. On me, a good fitting bra, I have a space of 8 inches here. When I put this bra on, the gap, it jumps up to the measurement to 9 3/4 inches. So quite a big difference once you even get actual tissue into the cups. It really exaggerates it. So this is not quite as exaggerated as it would be if I had something heavier inside the cups. So that is the #1 reason why I would say don't buy this bra. The next difficulty I had was with the measuring system. Of course, you always want to measure your measurements and check them against the pattern, right? Whether you're making pants, shirt, bra, that's what you always do. So I went ahead, according to the measurements, it put me in a 36 double D. Okay, I've never worn a band that big, but again, they have their own measurements. Let's see how it goes. And do note that these measurements and sizes are actually different than some of the other bra patterns from Simplicity. So again, just because you were one size in one of their bra patterns and it fit well, it's not going to work in this one. This definitely is differently sized than the one pattern whose number I can't remember at the moment. I'm so sorry, but the cute little racer back one, that one is much closer to actual fit sizes. This one is not. So if you've tried that pattern and you really liked it, do not think you can just jump into the same size in this one, which hopefully you aren't buying this one anyways. But anyways, going back to that, it had me at a 36 double D, which did not fit. The cups were way too small. They did not come anywhere close. I think, they would have covered maybe 3/4 of me. So I ended up just going up to the largest size that they had, the 42 double D. I made the bra as it was and then just reduced the sides down. The 42 double D cups did fit me, but again, they fit me and, and everything went wrong. So sizing is definitely an issue. The fit itself is an issue. The nice thing I will say is that the band is designed for a 3-hook, which tends to be unusual, so that was nice. Again, I disagree, especially in larger sizes, with the choice of materials. If everything they're calling for is stretchy with no stabilizing features, it just doesn't work. I was hoping initially that when I added this stabilizer in, that maybe that was the problem. Maybe that would reduce this strange east-west gap. It didn't help at all. Didn't change that. Yeah. Other things I don't agree with. What else? Let's see. The size of the needle was odd. I thought it was strange that they called for a universal needle size 14. In the notions, you definitely don't need a size 14 needle if you are sewing with anything in a bra. I mean, you've got the elastic, you've got delicate stretch lace, you've got power net, which is loosely woven. There's no need to go to a needle beyond maybe a 10 or 11 is what size. I typically use a size 11. Some brands, because they go even numbers, they'd go 10 and 12. I use a 10. There shouldn't be anything in here that's going to require a larger size. That was odd. Yeah, it really... What else did it... I think everything else was okay. You know, I should mention that I used... Which bra did I use? I think A and B are basically the same. It's just that one calls for stretch lace everywhere, the other one only has the lace in the cups. Which again is interesting because if you're using it for the cups, you don't want stretch. You wouldn't want stretch lace anyways. So for view B, which is what basically I made, you know, you could use something different than stretch lace. Again, I hope you're not buying this pattern and you're not using it. But if you were, just know that in the view B, where you're using only power knit and lace, you could use rigid lace here. You'd want to use rigid lace here. Otherwise, the stretch lace is fine. But yeah, I wouldn't waste, if you have found 8-inch wide stretch elastic, I wouldn't waste it on this pattern, frankly. Yeah, trying to see if there's anything else good I could say about it. And there really just isn't. Close-up shot. I know it's hard to see with the pink sheer. I'm sorry, I didn't think about it before I started doing this. But you can see this is where your nipple would be, right? And here's where your center line really wants to be. You want to have everything pointing about here, and this is pushing out and causing your nipples to go this way, and the same thing on this side. You know, it's pointing out. So there's this really east-west point there. And my sweet husband was like, oh, it's not that bad, you can't really tell. But if you think about, well, that won't work. If you think about it from a top view, that's where things get funky. And forgive the background, you can see all the different lightings I try to use to keep this easy for you to see. But you can see how very east-west we're going there, right? Normally you'd want to kind of push those girls in. This is not going to do it for you. That is the view from the top, as it were. Again, this being your kind of shoulder. Doo-doo-doo. Whoa, we're way out here. Yeah, so that is why I do not recommend this pattern at all. It is that one. The 8229 Simplicity